What's the dumbest thing someone has ever flexed? I was just trying to eat my lunch in peace. That's all I wanted. A sandwich, some chips, maybe scroll through my phone for 10 minutes without human interaction. Simple. But then Bryce sat down. Bryce is the kind of guy who thinks having a podcast makes him important. The kind of guy who unironically says hustle culture and calls water hydration. He dropped his tray like he was making an entrance, looked around the table, and said, "Y'all notice anything different about me?" Nobody responded. We were eating. That should have been the hint. But Bryce doesn't do hints. He lifted his foot onto the bench like he was posing for a statue and goes, "Limited edition. Sneakers." I glanced over. They were white. Very aggressively white. The kind of white that screams, "I will cry if someone steps on these." He started explaining the entire sneaker backstory like it was a Netflix documentary. These dropped last week, but I got them early because I have connections. Bryce, your dad works at a car wash. He pulled out the box. Not just showed it. Pulled it out of his backpack like it was the Declaration of Independence. Held it up. Rotated it. Let people smell it. Someone asked if they could touch it, and he said, "Nah, oils from your fingers might damage the logo." At this point, half the table was pretending to be fascinated just to see how far he'd go. The other half was actively trying to leave. Then he said the words that changed everything. "You want to know how much I paid for these?" Nobody asked. Literally nobody. He grinned, leaned in, and whispered like he was confessing to a crime. $300. Silence. Then someone goes, "That's it." Bryce's smile faltered. "What do you mean, that's it? These are exclusive." "Yeah, but like 300 isn't that wild. My mom's yoga mat cost more than that." Bryce looked personally attacked. He straightened up, puffed his chest, and said, "Well, maybe your mom can afford it because I can too." Then he did the unthinkable. He pulled out his phone, opened his banking app, and turned the screen toward everyone like he was presenting evidence in court. "See? $847. I can afford whatever I want." The table went silent. Not impressed silent. Confused silent. The kind of silent that happens when someone says something so baffling that your brain needs a moment to reboot. I stared at the screen. He had $847 and was flexing it like it was generational wealth. Someone finally said, "Bro, you just spent $300 on shoes. You have $547 left." Bryce shook his head like we were all too broke to understand. "It's called financial freedom. Look it up." That's when Mr. Rodriguez walked by. Mr. Rodriguez is the kind of teacher who's seen everything. Doesn't react to much. Just grades papers, drinks black coffee, and occasionally roasts students with surgical precision. He stopped, looked at Bryce's phone, looked at Bryce, and said, "That's cute. That's what I spend on groceries in 2 weeks." The cafeteria exploded. Not just our table, the entire room. Kids 3 tables over started laughing. Someone yelled, "Get him out of here." Another kid goes, "Bryce just got cooked by a man who drives a 2006 Camry." Bryce's face turned the color of a stop sign. He grabbed his phone, shoved it in his pocket, and muttered something about people not understanding investment pieces. Then he stood up, grabbed his tray, and walked away without making eye contact with a single person.